Su Chen travels through the Douluo continent and activates the gold finger that can become stronger by writing diaries. At the beginning, you will receive a reward critical strike. 3 points of returning energy plus 100-year skill plus martial soul evolution. This day. Bibi Dong, Hulena, Qian Renxue, Zhu Zhuqing, Ning Rongrong. Many people have discovered an exclusive diary instance where they see their own destiny, and even more outrageously, they have received generous rewards from it. As the diary was updated day by day, the 3 love minds of the martial soul hall awakened and began to crazily use rewards to torture Tang San and clean up Yu Xiaojiang. The gears of fate begin to turn. Everyone began to enjoy the life of cheating, except for Tang Sanren. Soul Master Competition. Tang San looked at the contestants on the field, all of whom were titled Douluo. He paid off the 100,000-year soul rings and beat his father Tang Hao like a dog. Tang San. On the 15th day of that year, standing like a servant in the Soul Master competition, I tearfully swore that everyone must see me. Later, Tang San worked hard to become a god and finally had a 100,000-year soul ring. However, he found that those who were once titled Douluo had already become gods, and all the soul ring configurations had been replaced with a uniform million-year soul ring. Tang San. 30 years in the east and 30 years in the west. My cheating is not as powerful as theirs, the deceased must be big. Yu Xiaojiang. Su Chen is a good person. He successfully cut me off to help me with my great love with Erlong, but Erlong. Come back. Keywords of the novel. Douluo. Read my diary, they are crazily opening and hanging without pop-ups. Douluo. Read my diary, they are crazily opening and hanging. Download the complete set of TXT. Douluo. Read my diary, they are crazily opening and hanging the latest chapters to read. Chapter 1. The Way to Being Secreted. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The Way to Being Secreted. Martial Soul City. The Papal Palace. That is the sound of jade feet stepping on high heels and on the ground. A figure walked in. She was wearing a golden long dress from head to toe, perfectly fitting, and her dazzling dress shimmered with jewels. The body exudes an intangible noble and sacred temperament, which makes one unable to resist the feeling of bowing with a bow. Of course. Even a dress with over 100 red, blue, and gold gemstones, as well as a 9-curved purple gold crown adorned with radiance on her head, are not the most beautiful. The most beautiful thing about her is her nearly perfect appearance, fair skin, curvaceous figure, large snow-white under her collarbone, and a pair of slender and tender legs, which are extremely tempting. She is the current pope of the Martial Soul Temple. Bibi Dong. Although she is no longer young. However, the traces of time did not seem to have left on her. She was still so stunning and beautiful, noble, elegant, and tranquil. Moreover, time personally brought a halo to her, deeply touching the hearts of every Wei warrior. The spirit of Jianan still exists today, and the legacy of Wei Wu will be passed down forever. In the room. After a busy day, Master Bai walked up to the wardrobe, took off her gorgeous disguise, and her perfect figure was exposed in the darkness. After changing into a light-colored pajama, she leaned on the bed to support her tender white chin, lost in thought. Although Bibi Dong is the Pope. But there is also a worship hall and an elder hall in the Martial Soul Hall. Today, Bibi Dong intended to fight for several soul bones for the golden generation of the Martial Soul Hall, but was opposed by a group of elders. The Elder Hall is the core of the power of the Martial Soul Hall and is responsible for deciding major matters related to it. How precious are soul bones! Bibi Dong wants to give the golden generation, so they naturally won't easily agree. Not long. Bibi Dong suddenly became enlightened and muttered to himself in a deep voice, so let's put those 3 soul bones as rewards for the champion team of the Soul Master competition more than 2 years later, even if it's a little test for Nana and her team. Suddenly. Bibidong let out a soft moan, feeling that something was being decided under her buttocks. She reached out her jade hand and reached down to touch it, only to directly pull out something from below. It was the size of a book, and on top of it was written, Su Chen's diary, Bibidong's copy. What person? Bibidong stood up in an instant, emitting a powerful soul power and pressure all over his body. His entire pretty face became cold, and his sleeping clothes began to sway under the wind, revealing purple plumpness inside. The terrifying aura around him, even an ordinary titled Douluo, would probably kneel down. Damn it! After exploring, Bibidong not only gained nothing, but also found no trace of anyone entering his own dormitory, which made him angry. What kind of means is this? After a moment of silence, Bibidong sat back on the bed and opened his diary. His mind began to carefully recall that Su Chen did not have this name in his memory. Grass is a type of plant. Just seeing the first sentence, Bibidong couldn't help but imagine in his mind. Blue-silver grass. Continue watching. Who knows, my family. I have been in Douluo continent for 18 years and have awakened my memories of my past life for 3 months. Finally, I have opened a golden finger to write a diary. This TM is almost unbearable for me. Besides having an incredibly handsome face, I am really useless. Even my martial soul is just a chicken with innate soul power of 2.5 levels. I have practiced for more than 10 years and only reached level 15. If I don't have the golden finger, I'm afraid it will be really difficult for me to survive. It's too difficult, however, if it weren't for my handsome face, which is exactly the same as my previous life, I would have died outside the Star Forest just 3 months ago, and would not have been taken back to Wulin City by Hulena, a flower maniac, nor would I have become the guard of Wulin Academy. Strength is only temporary, handsome will last for 2 lifetimes. At present, I don't know if this golden finger is easy to use, so let's just cross out this sentence in the water diary. I want to write a diary seriously. Today is me. How old am I? Let's start counting from the awakening memory. Today is the 95th day I have traveled through the Douluo continent. Although the Douluo continent is a fantasy floor, it is still very dangerous without strength. Be careful not to sail the ship for thousands of years. According to the development of the plot, Xiao Wuzhen should be going to Shrek Academy soon. There are still about 13 years left until the establishment of the Martial Soul Empire and the full-scale war on the mainland. Although as a traveler, he knows for 500 years, no one can guarantee that he will be captured as a strong soldier when the war begins. I don't have the strength now, so I need to be cautious when doing things, avoid contact with the characters in the original work, and avoid getting involved in causality. Hee. When talking about this deformed world, I really have to complain about Grandma Li. In this world, the Wulin Hall, which symbolizes the hope and justice of civilians, was defeated by the imperialists and nobles representing evil. Since ancient times, those who win the hearts of the people have won the world. Over the years, the Martial Soul Hall has helped many civilians awaken their martial souls. From their previous memories, they found that their own martial souls were awakened by the Martial Soul Hall, and there was also the little coward who destroyed the Martial Soul Hall. His martial souls were also awakened by the Martial Soul Hall. Is there still a royal law? Is there still a law of the Papal Palace? Bibidong saw that it was like frost inside, and his heart stirred up a huge wave, with complex emotions and excitement. Crosser. Knowing about 1,000 years before and after. Has the Martial Soul Hall been destroyed by the little scoundrel? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Bibidong gritted his silver teeth tightly. The title Douluo of the Martial Soul Hall was numerous, and he had accumulated strong influence over the years. The old guy worshipped in the hall was even more formidable. How could he possibly be destroyed by a small scoundrel? Even if one wants to destroy themselves, Bibidong's mind is mixed up. Continue to check his diary. It's okay, I am just a small time traveler, and now I am just a chicken martial soul born at 2.5 levels. From ancient times to the present, there have been talented people from all walks of life. Temporary disputes are not a big deal, and the one who lives until the end is the true winner. From now on, Su Chen will remember the famous saying. Frown when encountering difficulties, retreat behind everyone. Write it in my diary every day, constantly reminding myself to strive for the throne. Time is running out. Today's diary will be written here. I don't know what reward I can give. I hope it can be awesome. Good night, 2 worlds in the dormitory. Bang! Bibidong saw this and slammed his diary onto the ground with a fierce thud, causing waves of heaviness in his chest. Damn it! This seat is already lying down, how can you just end it? Short. Short and weak. You can't write clearly how the Martial Soul Hall was destroyed. Is it me or Xiao Wuzhen who destroyed the Martial Soul Hall? Who exactly is Xiao Wuzhen? Bibidong suppressed his inner anger, and more question marks popped up in his mind. At the same time, he became extremely worried. If someone could truly know for 1,000 years, wouldn't it be possible to calculate their innermost thoughts? Su Chen, right. 3 months ago, was Nana brought back to the Martial Soul City. Working as a gatekeeper at the Martial Soul Academy. Great. Since you are under my nose, everything can't be done by you. If everything you write is fake. But all of this must be true, you won't want to see the heavens again in the future. Bibidong. You already have the way to be kept in a secret room. New book trust, seeking support. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Reward distribution finally stand up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Reward distribution finally stand up immediately. Bibidong walked to the door and ordered. Someone, go and call Hulena over. Also, send someone to notify the ghost and ask him to go to the Martial Soul Academy to secretly monitor and investigate a gatekeeper named Su Chen. If there is any discovery, send someone to inform me immediately. Dormitory of Martial Soul Academy. Hulena was wearing a thin sleeping dress, lying on the bed with her little butt curled up. The graceful figure of the girl still had a hint of charm. At this moment, she also just closed her diary. Hulena's diary is almost identical to Bibidong's, but it is marked as Su Chen's diary, Hulena's copy. At the same time, throughout the Douluo continent, women who possess copies of Su Chen's diary were stunned by the magical existence of the diary, and the content written inside shattered their 3 perspectives. Like Bibidong and Hulena, their diary copies are no different except for their exclusive names. Over here. Hulena held the diary to her chest and murmured. Su Chen, the young man who was brought back from the outskirts of the Star Forest last time, just thought he was very handsome. I didn't expect him to hide such a big secret. What a jerk, your whole family is a flower addict. Hulena cursed angrily, feeling a bit displeased in her heart. I saved you with kindness and even brought you back to the Martial Soul City to help you find a stable job. Surprisingly, you called me a flower lover in your diary. Are you still saying that our Martial Soul Hall will be destroyed in the future? Doesn't your conscience feel anything about it? Humph. A chicken with innate soul power of 2.5 levels, I will definitely go and teach you a good lesson tomorrow. Think of it here. Hulena suddenly realized that after bringing Su Chen back, although he was working as a guard at the entrance of the Martial Soul Academy, she seemed to have never seen him again. Strange. Why does this guy seem to be constantly avoiding himself? The night is already deep. Just as Hulena was about to faint and fall asleep, she was called to the Martial Soul Hall by someone. Dormitory for employees of the Martial Soul Academy. Su Chen lay in bed, clutching her diary tightly in her hand. Spend the day like a year. He has already finished writing today's diary. I don't know why, but after Su Chen finished writing, the reward for the diary was not distributed for a long time, which made him extremely anxious. Can you do it, Brother Benzi? Are you going to give me a big blow after all this friction? Drop. Diary, recording the beautiful journey through life. Congratulations to the host for completing the first day diary. Rewards are now being distributed. The first reward is a super critical hit of X1. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the 3-point revival technique, Heavenly Frost Fist, Wind God Leg, and Cloud Pairing Palm. Practice Invincible, and round Heavenly Frost Force, Void Cloud Force, and Divine Wind Force from the outside to the inside, and then combine the 3 points of Heavenly Frost Fist, Wind God Leg, and Cloud Pairing Palm into one. The so-called 3 points of revival is achieved by taking 1 point from each of the 3 points and merging them into one. First reward for Super Critical Strike X2, congratulations to the host for obtaining Blood Bodhi. After taking it, it can bring life back to life and increase 100 years of skill. First reward for Super Critical Strike X3, congratulations to the host for obtaining Space Ring. Size of football field, as the host wrote their diary for the first time yesterday, activating the hidden reward. Martial Soul Immortal Level Evolution. Sleeping Slot. Su Chen jumped up from the bed in an instant with excitement, his face full of surprises and excitement that could not be concealed. He was so excited that he wished he could jump on the spot because you were so beautiful. 3 points return to vitality, 7 points rely on hard work, the remaining 90 points depend entirely on cheating. Xiao Wan, even a Xiantian treasure record can fly, and the big gift package for his diary on this first day is just a slap in the face. Oh yes. Blood Bodhi. Blood Bodhi, which can not only resurrect the dead, but also enhance the user's century-old skill. Hiss. Su Chen suddenly took a deep breath. Grandma Lee's. The skill of this punch for 100 years, even thinking about myself, I am afraid. Yes, there is also the evolution of martial souls. Su Chen's eyes turned red with excitement in his heart. On this first day, the diary gift package will take off directly. Although it is uncertain how strong this wave of strength can be, 3 points of recovery in 100 years of skill cannot be inferior to hidden weapons, can it be said. So this conservative estimate is that Soul Douluo can definitely kill indiscriminately, and ordinary title Douluo should not have much problem. Woo 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 woo. For the 3 months of awakening my memory, I spent every day feeling anxious and fearful, fearing that someone might get hurt. Now I finally stand up. Okay. The people of time travel have finally stood up. Extract martial arts. Take Blood Bodhi. Starting to evolve martial souls. A chicken martial soul appeared on Su Chen and began to evolve. The 3-part return to the source technique is enlightened, and the power of Blood Bodhi fills the whole body, as if there is an immeasurable and inexhaustible power. A voice echoed through Su Chen's mind. There is a fish in the northern underworld, named Kuan. Kuan is so big that I don't know how many kilometers it can travel. When it transforms into a bird, its name is Peng. The back of the Peng is so big that I don't know how many kilometers it can travel. When it flies in anger, its wings are like clouds hanging in the sky. 100-level transformation of Kuan. Soon. The originally weak chicken martial soul first grew incredibly strong golden wings, gradually transforming into a Peng and eventually into a Kuan. Sometimes it's a bird, sometimes it's a fish. It's for Kuan Peng. A sound of Kuan crowing and Peng honking echoed through the night. Martial Soul Hall. All the titled Douluo looked in shock towards the direction of the angel statue, their eyes revealing shock and confusion. Qiandao Lu is also greatly puzzled. This mournful cry made him tremble all over. Is it the power of an angel? Or the papal palace? Hulena had just seen her teacher Bibi Dong when she suddenly heard this mournful cry and felt her martial soul tremble slightly. Master, what happened? Bibi's face was solemn, and her beauty was also full of doubts under the mournful cry of the Kuanpeng. She also felt her soul tremble, but she also knew nothing about all of this. Wait. That strange diary writer, claiming to know Su Chen for 1,000 years, said at the end of his diary that the system would reward him. Is it all because of his reward? Bibidong looked at Hulena and his gaze softened slightly. Nana, the teacher called you over so late. Actually, there's something I want to ask you. As he spoke, Bibidong hesitated a bit. Should he just mention the diary? It feels strange to have one's own identity in a man's diary, no matter what. Hulena saw the teacher hesitating to speak and shouted. Teacher, I happen to have something in my heart that I want to tell you. 3 months ago, when I returned from the Star Forest, I brought back a person whom I had never had contact with before. Unexpectedly, today, for some reason, a diary named Su Chen's diary appeared. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Lucky Hulena. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Lucky Hulena. After Hulena finished speaking, she took out her diary directly. Bibidong was greatly shocked to see this expression on his face. Nana, you also have it. Speaking. Bibidong also took out his own exclusive diary and compared it with Hulena. Whether it's the appearance on the outside or the content inside, except for the exclusive name, everything else is the same. Bibidong held 2 diary entries and said, It's strange to say that just now I even discovered that this diary can be stored in my body at any time, and can be flipped through and viewed in my mind at any time. The teacher has never heard of such magical methods. Hulena listened to Bibidong's words and her heart was moved. She saw a copy of her diary that belonged to her and flew into her mind in an instant. Oh my goodness! Is it so magical? This really works. While Hulena was pleasantly surprised, Bibidong's stunning face darkened and his mind became very heavy. Teacher. Hulena was a bit worried and shouted. Bibidong looked at Hulena and frowned slightly, saying, Both of us have this copy of Su Chen's diary, which indirectly proves that perhaps others will also have it. The method of the diary is magical, so Su Chen is not easy either. Nana, how much do you know about him? Bibidong's mind was a bit low, and the magic of her diary was likely to reveal many of her secrets sooner or later. Upon hearing these words, Hulena earnestly recalled and said. 3 months ago, when I met him, it was outside the Star Forest. He was only a level 15 Soul Master, and I didn't think much about it when I casually brought him out. Later, he said he wanted to come to the Martial Soul City, and I took him along the way to the Martial Soul City and recommended him to become a gatekeeper at the Martial Soul Academy. Since then, I haven't met him again. At the end, there was a hint of longing in Hulena's eyes. Ah. Bibidong is a bit speechless. Is it true that the evaluation of the flower maniac Hulena in Su Chen's diary is true? Bibidong looked at Hulena with complicated eyes and asked. He's just a level 15 Soul Master, ordinary and unremarkable. Are you just so easy to help him repeatedly? Hulena's face turned slightly rosy when Bibidong looked at her, as if she had been pointed out. She lowered her head slightly and said, I only saw him pitiful at the time, and I really didn't see him handsome before helping him. Ordinary and unremarkable. Master, he is really handsome. He's really not my playboy, he's the most handsome man I've ever seen, none of them seeing such a handsome man, who wouldn't be confused, especially his fierce peach blossom eyes, probably even a man could be electrocuted by him. Just as Bibidong was about to say something, she heard a mechanical voice in her mind as she parted ways with Hulena. Now enable the diary copy function. Rule 1. Those who have a diary copy and have the most names appearing in the diary every day can receive generous rewards. Rule 2. Randomly draw daily, and the person whose name appears in the diary will receive a random reward. Rule 3. Randomly trigger lucky viewers. Lucky viewers can customize the theme of the following diary content, such as who will be the theme, what events will be the theme, and so on. Note: all matters related to the diary, as well as updates to the diary, can only be mentioned to those who own the diary, otherwise they will be erased by the system. Hulena's face froze instantly, and beads of sweat appeared on her fair and tender cheeks. Almost. Fortunately, Master is also someone who owns a diary. Otherwise, if he had spoken directly about the diary, wouldn't he have been erased at this moment? Thinking of the mystery of the diary, Hulena couldn't help but shiver. Xiaowu, who is far away in Holy Soul Village, can quietly tell her using her identity as a passerby that she will not be directly erased, but will be electrocuted when she wants to say the word day. Bibidong saw Hulena's abnormality and touched the back of her head, comforting her softly. This matter was also the teacher's carelessness. The sudden appearance of this diary, I don't know how there was such a rule. It's okay to have the teacher present. For Hulena, Bibidong gave all the maternal love from Qianrengshu to her. Hulena felt warmth in her heart and pressed it against Bibidong's body while Bibidong treats her as his biological daughter. She also regards Bibidong as his mother. There was a car accident and the headlights collided. Suddenly, Bibidong remembered something and smiled, saying, "Nana, we have all read this diary. Except for a person named Xiao Wuzhen, only your name has appeared, so I think the next 2 rewards should be yours." Rewards. Hulena was also instantly surprised and began to ponder in her heart, this Su Chen is just a level 15 soul master, where does the reward come from? Distribution of dungeon rewards. Congratulations to Hulena. She mentioned her name the most in her diary and received a reward of an additional 1,000 years for all soul rings. Congratulations to Hulena. Her name was randomly selected in her diary and she received a random reward. Soul power increased by 1 level. Congratulations to Lu Erlong, who has become a lucky audience. You can customize the theme of your diary once. Congratulations to Hulena, the first to receive the diary dungeon reward and receive hidden rewards. 100,000 year soul rings and 100,000 year soul bones. Bibidong saw the reward notice sent to Hulena in his diary, and his expression immediately went out of control, staring at Hulena incredulously. Hide rewards. But I saw Hulena's martial soul emerge, a beautiful fox demon. Bang bang bang. The original yellow, purple, and purple soul rings have all been upgraded by 1,000 years, and have all turned purple. Hulena was also surprised and covered her small mouth, incredulously saying, "Teacher, my soul rings have really all been upgraded." Bang! Hulena, who was originally at level 49, has now directly upgraded to level 50 and obtained the 5th soul ring, which is red. Bibidong also choked up dryly, unable to set up a channel. The 5th soul ring. 100,000 years. She even rubbed her own eyes. I seriously suspect that I have been blinded by the configuration of purple, and red. Bibidong was completely shocked. Her mind was constantly pondering whether she should immediately arrest Su Chen, lock him up in a secret room, and have him write about herself in his diary every day. I really miss him in the secret room. I can't say for sure. The first time he was locked in a secret room, was it also a hidden reward? Nana. Bibidong hugged Hulena into his arms and said with a relieved expression, "The teacher is really proud of you. Stay with the teacher tonight and have a good chat. Regarding the matter of Su Chen, it seems too mysterious by current means. The teacher cannot act rashly yet. Next, you should have good contact with him at school and get to know him better. These days, the teacher will arrange to crown you as the saint of the Martial Soul Temple and the first-in-line heir to the Pope. Teacher." Hulena also hugged Bibidong tightly, feeling that today was really too happy. However, As their masters and disciples were overjoyed by these rewards, the women who had diary copies in other places envied and doubted their lives one by one. Add 1,000 years to the lifespan of all soul rings. Boost soul power by 1 level. A 100,000-year soul ring. 100,000 years of soul bone. Oh my goodness. This is really a fake dough. If it's true, is it just because a person named Su Chen mentioned to Hulena's name in his diary that Hulena received such a generous reward? But if it's fake, how can we explain the magic of this diary? End of this chapter. Did you tell me in chapter 4 that this is a lucky audience? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did you tell me in chapter 4 that this is a lucky audience? Tiendo City. The Crown Prince's Mansion. As the most beautiful woman in Douluo, Qianrengshu, a little angel with yellow hair, was also surprised by the rewards in the diary dungeon at this moment. Hulena naturally knows that she was a good playmate and she was a child and her relationship has always been good. She was a bit uncertain about the authenticity of the reward for this diary copy. It's too exaggerated. Also, according to the diary, Su Chen is a traveler, and Qian Renxue doesn't understand what the traveler is. It can be roughly understood as a prophet, but the prophet named Su Chen said that the martial soul palace will be destroyed, or it will be destroyed after the establishment of the empire. This is even more unacceptable to her. Damn it. Why is this lucky audience not me, and I can't customize the theme of my diary? Qianren Shui got off the bed, with elegant body lines, exquisite curves, and charming breath, making people intoxicated. Walk to the window edge. Qianren Shui said in a deep voice. Grandpa Shi, could you please go back to the Martial Soul City as quickly as possible and secretly check if there is a guard named Su Chen in the Martial Soul Academy? This matter should be kept secret. Also, may I ask about the changes in Hulena's strength? Yes, young master. The snake spear Douluo outside responded to the words and quickly left with a glance at the prickly dolphin Douluo. Qian Renxue returned to bed and lay down, her beautiful figure beginning to toss and turn, her heart filled with worries about the future of the Martial Soul Hall. She didn't understand why the Martial Soul Hall would be destroyed. I can't even understand. Will I fail if I have been dormant in Tiendo for many years? Sleepless all night. This is destined to be a sleepless night. Together in Tiendo City. Lanba Academy. Lu Erlong, a mature young woman in her 30s, was also tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Under her white pajamas, she had a hot and perfect figure that ordinary girls could not match. Add 1,000 years to the lifespan of all soul rings, increase soul power by 1 level, and hide rewards of 100,000 years soul rings and bones. I don't have any good rewards, can you tell me this is a lucky audience? Absolutely outrageous. I really believe in your evil. Lu Erlong sat up from the bed, the more he thought about this diary, the more angry he became. Customize the theme related to diaries once. I don't care what kind of diary you write, what theme you write. Even if you give me a little soul power boost, it's better than these lucky viewers. Damn it. Lu Erlong flipped over on the bed for a long time before suddenly sitting up. His chest was snow-white with excitement, and he said, the traveler knows 500 years before and 500 years after. Isn't it possible for him to ask Xiao Gang? Okay. Tomorrow, let him write about Xiao Gang. It's impossible for him to find Xiao Gang himself. This night. The gears of fate began to turn. Martial Soul Academy. Early morning. The rising sun rises in the east. Su Chen practiced all night and opened his eyes. The powerful power on his body and the surging internal power in his body made him energetic and refreshed. Compared to the previous worries and promises, today's Su Chen finally has the appearance of a traveler. Confidence. Put on your clothes and organize your image. As Su Chen walked out, he began to write a diary in his mind. Good morning, my two worlds. What did I say yesterday? Douluo is the king. It's obvious that my diary was hacked yesterday. Today, taking advantage of the sunrise in the east, I'm here to announce my new quote. I don't eat beef. Xiao Wusan, even a Xiantian treasure record can dominate the Douluo continent. 3 parts of my Su Chen's 100-year-old skill will return to my elemental energy, so I can directly earn gold to fill it up. Starting from today, I, Long Outyen, will not allow anyone to speak loudly to me again. Just as Su Chen finished his sentence in his mind, someone in the distance shouted at him. Su Chen. Su Chen turned his head and saw that the person speaking was Hulena, dressed in a golden robe. He saw that her hair was golden, she was full of energy, her eyes were bright and lively, she was sexy and charming, and her figure was almost perfect. She was like a wolf ready to go, showing a capable and bold temperament. What a stunning little fox. Su Chen admired the person in front of him and casually joked. Dear Miss Hulena, may I ask if you have anything to do? Hulena's eyes flashed with a hint of strangeness, as Su Chen now seemed different from before. Previously, what she felt on Su Chen was avoidance and retreat, but now when she looks at it again, it not only disappears, but also gives rise to a strong and elegant aura. Well, we can still be considered friends. I haven't met you before in the college. How have you been in the past 3 months? Su Chen listened to Hulena's words and said seriously. Before, it was okay too. Be patient. But from today on, it's different. The 3-year period has arrived, and Dragon King has returned with billions of orders. Hulena. While Hulena was pondering the meaning of Su Chen's words, she saw Su Chen updating her diary in front of her. This flower-crazy little fox is really beautiful. I used to have to hide from her all the time because I was too useless. Now I don't need to hide anymore. The security guard at the entrance is more compatible with the return of the war god Dragon King. Hey, this little fox will be deceived by the little scoundrel and even become a white-eyed wolf in the martial soul hall. Should I save her? Speaking of which, this white-eyed wolf was passed down by the master. Hulena was almost furious in her heart. Damn it. Are you pretending to be elegant to me on the surface and cursing me as a white-eyed wolf in your diary behind your back? Doesn't your conscience feel anything about it? The key is. Whatever you say about me, why attack my master? Hulena is also angry, but she was already told by Bibi Dong last night that she will not be honest with Su Chen for the time being, nor can she startle the snake. She suppressed her frustration and asked with a smile on her face. Have you eaten yet? I'll treat you to the college cafeteria to have a good meal. The task that Bibi Dong gave Hulena was to make her contact, understand, befriend, and win over Su Chen, so that she could eventually form a marriage alliance. Originally, Bibi Dong's plan was to take control, but after the dungeon rewards were distributed last night, she felt that she couldn't act rashly. This mysterious traveler and mysterious notebook cannot be moved until fully understood. Speaking of forbearance. Bibi Dong's skill is comparable to that of the Dragon King's son. In law. Su Chen listened to Hulena's words and nodded with a smile, saying. I happen to have something I want to ask for your help with. Let's go eat and chat together. He wants to borrow some money from Hulena and borrow a map to go to Sunset Forest. After gaining strength, Su Chen naturally couldn't leave the ice and fire eyes of the Sunset Forest to Tang San anymore. Hulena nodded happily, taking Su Chen to the cafeteria while secretly observing him. Although Su Chen was already very handsome before, his mood was different due to his weak strength. Now, after opening the golden finger, his mood has changed. His temperament is noble and charming, powerful and confident, and every move is full of maturity and elegance, making people involuntarily attracted. Smiles also become warm and charming, as if they can illuminate everything around them. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. You resemble a friend of mine on the Grassland. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. You resemble a friend of mine on the grassland, cough cough. Su Chen saw the little fox lose consciousness and coughed lightly to remind him. Look again, it's about to hit the tree. Hulena's pretty face turned red as she listened to Su Chen's words, and she gave him a quick glance as she walked towards the cafeteria. As Hulena said, she really wants to treat Su Chen to a good meal this time. As soon as you enter, the dishes you order are the best and most expensive. All the meat used in the dishes is made from soul beasts that have been around for centuries or even thousands of years. The chefs who cook them are also top-notch chefs, and any dish costs hundreds of gold soul coins. This level is something that Su Chen couldn't even dream of working at the Martial Soul Academy for 3 months. Hey! Do you have to eat thousands of gold soul coins for such a meal? Just being so polite to me makes me feel embarrassed to borrow money from you. Su Chen was eating while calculating in his heart. Although Tang San is going to Shrek now, it's still early to discover the ice and fire eye, but since he has the strength, he needs to go mowing as soon as possible. Only by giving others grass can they be willing to do things for themselves. Hulena didn't eat much and kept secretly watching Su Chen, not knowing what she was thinking. Su Chen, I remember you said before that your martial soul is a chicken, right? Puff. Su Chen listened to Hulena's words and immediately sprayed the rice out of his mouth. Sister, please be more civilized. Hulena, however, looked suspicious and asked. Is there anything wrong with what I said? I remember you told me before that your martial soul is a chicken, and your innate soul power is 2.5 levels, right? Su Chen wiped his mouth and nodded, saying. Yes, my martial soul is a chicken, but it mutated last night. What? Hulena was instantly shocked and said. Has the martial soul mutated? Quick. Show me your chicken quickly. Su Chen was stunned for a moment, feeling somewhat at a loss. Do you want to hear what you're saying? I don't want this anymore. When there's no one else to show you. Hulena had a guess in her heart that Su Chen must have received a reward last night, and her martial soul must have mutated exceptionally well. She continued to ask. Is there anything difficult about this? Anyway, your martial soul can't be hidden. Hurry up and release your martial soul. Let me see what your chicken martial soul has mutated into. Just as the two of them were saying, show me, and don't want Jia, the two figures walked over from afar. Evil Moon, Yen. One is Hulena's brother, and the other is Hulena's boiling lamb. Nana. After seeing Hulena, Yen quickened his pace with great joy and walked over. But when he saw Su Chen eating at the table with Hulena, his face immediately became visibly ugly, and the envy, jealousy, and hatred in his eyes were not concealed. Damn it! What kind of dog luck is this bastard able to have dinner alone with Nana? Hulena looked at Yen with some disdain and warned. I'm too lazy to talk to you so much, but I warn you, Su Chen is my friend. Put aside your old ways, if you dare to do anything to him, don't blame me for turning against you. Also, don't call me Nana. Yan's temperament, Hulena, is clear that whenever there is a man around her, this guy will provoke. Xiaoyu glanced at Hulena, with a hint of doubt in her eyes. When Su Chen was brought back by Hulena before, both Xiaoyu and Yen were there. However, Xiaoyu couldn't figure it out. The dinner party in front of her required several thousand gold soul coins. Su Chen was not an orphan, so why did she have so much money to treat her sister to dinner? Yen sat down beside Su Chen, while Xiaoyu sat down beside Hulena. A brief silence. Just as Hulena was about to speak, she saw an update to her diary in her mind. Love continent. The two types of people that this continent lacks the most are the love brain and the dead-licking dog, Feng Xiaotian, Oscar, Yen, Fran. The first two licked the beauty, while the latter two remained depressed for life. Hey! Su Chen turned his head to look at Yen beside him and couldn't help but let out a light sigh. Unfortunately, licking a dog has nothing. Yen erupted in an instant and angrily rebuked. What do you mean, little soul master? If it weren't for Nana's face, would you believe me if I slapped you to the wall, you wouldn't even be able to pull it off. No, I just saw you and thought of a friend who is very familiar on the Grassland. Su Chen said seriously, and indeed, after seeing Yen, he thought to himself, boiling sheep, happy sheep, you don't have the strength. Give him a push quickly. Humph. Yen snorted coldly and didn't speak again. Su Chen didn't pay much attention to him either. After eating enough, he looked at Hulena and said. Actually, I came to you today to ask for your help with something. The first is that I want to borrow some money, and the second is that I want to borrow a map of Sunset Forest. If possible, could you please help me take a leave? I need to go to Sunset Forest in the Heavenly Do Empire for something. If there's anything you need in the future, I can help you once. Yen sarcastically said on the side, you're the only one who went to the Sunset Forest. Don't forget that we didn't run into you last time. You're already dead on the outskirts of the Star Forest. A little soul master, Nana doesn't need you in this lifetime. Shut up. Hulena glared at Yen and then gently looked at Su Chen, saying. Sure. Are you going to Sunset Forest alone? Yen was trembling with anger from the side, and it was too obvious to treat him differently. Damn little white face. What else do you have besides this handsome face? Su Chen nodded heavily and said with some joy. I'll just take a look outside casually. If I don't go in, there won't be any danger for anyone. This boiling Yen and Su Chen were too lazy to pay attention to him. If it weren't for Hulena's help, they would have kicked off the Fengshen leg directly. What is the golden generation? Long out Yen, never consider the consequences when doing things. Hulena took out the golden soul card from her body and handed it to Su Chen, saying. This is my golden soul sub-card, you can take it and use it. Then wait for me at the entrance of the college at noon, and I will help you take a leave in the morning, while also finding a complete map of the Sunset Forest. Regarding this, Su Chen actually didn't have much hope. After all, Hulena didn't have much affection for him either. It would be best if he could brush his face and reduce some trouble. It doesn't matter if the other party doesn't help. However, Hulena's attitude made Su Chen somewhat suspicious of life. Love Mainland really relies on face to eat. Ah bah. Are you teaching me how to do things? Hulena really appreciates you. From now on, you will be my first friend Su Chen here. Su Chen ate and drank well, so he just slapped his butt and left. Hulena's pretty face turned red and she quietly watched as Su Chen left. Yan's face turned green. What are you doing patting my butt for? Evil Moon didn't speak from beginning to end. At that moment, she could not help roast. Old sister. You blush. They said you had a friend. Have you figured out the name of your child? Cough. Xiaoyu's mild cough reminded Hulena, and she regained her senses and spoke up. Brother, go pay the bill. I have something to go see my master for. What? I didn't eat anything, what should I pay for? The evil moon's face was filled with helplessness. Yen couldn't help but argue. Damn it. That little white face is deceiving people into eating, drinking, and even making money. Hulena ignored the two and quickly left for the Martial Soul Hall. End of this chapter. Do you know how hard he worked in Chapter 6? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Do you know how hard he worked in Chapter 6? At this moment, Su Chen leisurely returned to the dormitory to tidy up his things, only to find that he had nothing to bow to and lay in bed waiting for Hulena to help him find the map. Meanwhile, continue with the water diary. Very good. I borrowed money and a map from Hulena, so let's plan the route first. Ha. How did I suddenly realize that today's diary still requires an update on the topic of Yu Xiaojiang? This is not. As soon as Su Chen lay down, he couldn't help but sit up. What the hell? I'm writing my diary. What's wrong with Yu Xiaojiang? What kind of waste? Come and touch porcelain. Su Chen didn't hesitate to spray directly. Yu Xiaojiang can be summarized in 4 words. Waste. Scum. There is no useless martial soul, only a useless soul master. A useless person who cannot break through 20.9 cannot be said to be at the fault of the martial soul, but rather a useless person. Yu Xiaojiang was born into the blue electric Tyrannosaurus rex family and is the son of the sect leader Yu Yuanjun. The martial soul blue electric Tyrannosaurus rex mutated. Luo Sanpao. Is considered a malignant mutation by conventional eyes, but due to his own disability, he degenerated and mutated. But this thing has successfully mutated from a martial soul to a physical entity. If he has real talent and is a true genius master, perhaps there will be a beast warrior on the mainland. If my Kunkan could mutate into a physical entity, I couldn't believe what it would look like. I'm afraid the entire Douluo continent and divine realm would collapse. As for what are the top 10 core competencies of the martial soul palace, there are really loopholes, but this is also normal. It is shameless to have plagiarized the information of the martial soul palace for hundreds of years. After synthesizing it, it is one's own. How can a great soul master who cannot break through level 29 understand, experiment, and verify the authenticity of these contents? There is no doubt that Yu Xiaojiang is a waste. Not to mention the certification of ever-bright netizens, even the soul masters on Douluo continent, 99% of them believe that he is a waste, as can be seen from the reactions of his elementary school students at Notting College. Actually, trash is not annoying. What really makes me vomit is that he is a scumbag. Speaking of this, I have to slow down. This time when I go out, I have to go lie down Shrek. I won't break his penis, so I feel embarrassed to tell people that I am a time traveler when I go out in the future. Martial Soul Hall. Bibi Dong's face was gloomy, with a look of anger in his eyes, and his heart was filled with resentment towards Yu Xiaojiang. Heizi. Absolutely a little black. What's wrong with you being a traveler? You have no idea how hard Xiaojiang tried to break through the limitations of his martial soul. You have never seen him before. Do you know how hard he worked? You call him a waste. Of course. What angered Bibi Dong the most was that he was powerless to refute the evaluation in Su Chen's diary. Almost all of Yu Xiaojiang's theories were observed in the Martial Soul Hall, and they are recorded in the materials of the Martial Soul Hall for hundreds of years. The key is that the identity of Master Yu Xiaojiang is due to the reason of the Martial Soul Hall, and no one openly expresses it. In fact, everyone's perception of him in their hearts is that they treat him as a jumping clown. Teacher. Hulena arrived, looking at Bibidong's gloomy face and hesitating in her heart. She asked. Teacher, is that person named Yu Xiaojiang really as useless as Su Chen's diary? Bibi Dongnian Cold Road. A bunch of nonsense. Forget it, let's not talk about this issue anymore. Are you coming to me to talk about Su Chen's situation? After all, it was Bibidong's first love, and Bibi Dong definitely couldn't admit it, despite the fact. Hulena felt a little puzzled in her heart, but seeing that Bibi Dong was unwilling to speak more, she spoke up and said. Yes, I deliberately went to meet him early this morning and invited him to dinner. He said he needed my help and borrowed money from me, as well as a map of the Sunset Forest. Teacher, although I read his updated diary this morning and it seems that he has received some rewards that have become stronger, the Sunset Forest is extremely dangerous, and I am worried about him. Bibi Dong sat in the main hall, with a pair of slender white legs stretched out, and his face calm as he said. According to the mysterious analysis in the diary, neither he nor that level 15 soul master could be in danger. I just don't understand. He's in a hurry to go to the Sunset Forest to do something. After all, since he claims to be a traveler, he doesn't have any family or friends, does he? Nana, what do you think? Hulena looked up at Bibidong and shook her head, saying, I don't know about that either. Maybe I just want to go out and play. Bibidong pondered for a moment before speaking up. If he really is a traveling prophet as written in his diary, then this trip must have a purpose, such as finding people or something else. Of course, these are not important to us. Next, I want to find a reason to keep you by his side. Speaking of which, Bibidong has a headache. Hulena said with a joyful expression. Teacher, I am willing to. I'll go find him later and tell him to go with him, after all, he's not familiar with the mainland. I'll accompany him as a guide, and he shouldn't refuse. Hey! Bibidong's face brightened, and he didn't know how to complain about this flower-crazy disciple. Nana, you're just taking the initiative. Don't you think you're too abnormal? Also, Su Chen considers himself a time-traveling prophet who can understand the past and future. How could your abnormal behavior match your character? Hulena didn't answer, but she was pondering in her heart. Su Chen said I'm a flower addict, my character should be getting more and more stable, right? Lanba Academy. At this moment, Lu Erlong was also angry and gritted his silver teeth, his chest heaving violently. Damn it! It's so despicable. Do you know how hard Xiao Jiang worked? You were asked to write about Xiao Gang, but you ended up taking his message. When I find you little black guy, I will definitely break your chicken feet. Like Bibidong, although Lu Erlong felt resentful in his heart, he couldn't find a reason to deny Su Chen's diary remarks. The truth hurts the most. At this moment, Su Chen's diary was updated again, and the content inside instantly made Lu Erlong lose his mind and dumbfounded for a moment. Meanwhile, Bibidong in the Martial Soul Hall also instantly turned pale and devoid of blood. Next, let's talk about why Yu Xiaojiang is a scumbag because he personally ruined the lives of 2 girls. Thinking about Bibidong's life makes people want to strangle him. Speaking of Yu Xiaojiang, due to his martial soul, it goes without saying that he suffered from various difficulties and insults in the family since childhood, and was eventually expelled from the family. Even if his psychology was not distorted, he was probably only focused on proving himself. Let's start with the Martial Soul Hall. How did it develop with Bibidong? From the perspective of God, there are 3 possibilities. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Are you really good at persuading people? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Are you really good at persuading people? The first possibility is the arrangement of the Shura God. The Shura God wants to support the little weakling, and it is well known that each protagonist needs to set a major villain. Bibidong's presence is a stepping stone on the path of the little weakling becoming a god. After all, before Xiao Xiao-san, Bibidong was the most talented existence in the entire Douluo continent. It is very reasonable to let such a genius be his big villain, the Papal Palace. Bibidong's face turned pale in an instant, and a murderous aura emanated from all over his body. Little brat. Who the hell is Xiao Wuzhen? My own existence is just a stepping stone for the other party. I respect myself as the Pope of the Martial Soul Hall. How dare he? Shura God. This Su Chen is indeed mysterious. He even knows about the divine realm and the Shura gods. Is he really just a stepping stone for a little coward? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Hulena looked down at her teacher's pale face and quickly spoke out. Teacher, calm down. This is just the first possibility. As powerful as the teacher, how could it be a stepping stone for people? Humph. A bunch of nonsense. I don't even care about it. Bibidong let out a cold snort, so angry that he almost crushed the scepter pole in his hand. As Bibidong said, she has already accepted the inheritance of the Rakshasa god. What stepping stone? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Hulena also quickly nodded and said. I don't think this is the first possibility, it should be the last 2 possibilities. Teacher, let's continue reading. However, how does Hulena know? She really knows how to persuade people. On the other side, Su Chen began to update his diary and wrote down the second possibility. The second possibility is that the meeting between Bibi Dong and Yu Xiaojiang was actually a calculation by Yu Xiaojiang. As we mentioned earlier, Yu Xiaojiang's martial soul mutated and suffered from humiliation in his family. He was too eager to prove himself, and he really needed the information for the martial soul hall. However, not to mention whether he is useless or not, as a member of the Blue Overlord family, he cannot access the high-level core information of the martial soul hall, so he definitely needs someone to help. The person who can help him read the core information of the martial soul hall is none other than the core figures of the martial soul hall. These people not only have to be titled Douluo, but also elders and platinum bishops. But are these people that Yu Xiaojiang can use? So the pure and kind Saint Bibi Dong is Yu Xiaojiang's only hope, a person who has been living under discrimination and humiliation since childhood, playing with a pure saint in the martial soul hall. Isn't it as simple as my brother playing basketball martial soul hall? When Bibi Dong saw this, his heart instantly felt like a knife cutting pain. Impossible, absolutely impossible. Xiao Gang is not such a person, he is definitely not such a person. Hulena looked down at her teacher, who had lost her composure, feeling very bitter inside. She didn't expect that her teacher still had such a past, and she was just like herself now, a simple and kind girl. But, although the teacher firmly did not believe it, she clearly broke some defenses. From the perspective of her own bystander, Su Chen's diary analysis is very reasonable. A useless person who has been humiliated since childhood, even without psychological distortion, wouldn't talk about any bullshit love, would he? Hulena looked at Bibi Dong with both heartache and nervousness, and comforted her by saying, "Teacher, calm down. There is a third possibility, and I also think the first two possibilities are not right." "Yes, we have a third possibility." This statement just came out in the diary. The third possibility is to rule out conspiracy theory. Bibi Dong is a brainless person, but I can't imagine how much brainless Bibi Dong is. A useless person even looked down upon by his own family members has become a hot topic with you. You can't donate your eyes anymore in an instant. Hulena stood there and everyone was numb. Big brother. Is this how we write our diary? Hulena is now too afraid to speak up. Every time she comforts her, it concerns her own safety. Besides, the teacher may become even more popular. Bibi Dong was so angry that he almost spewed out a mouthful of old blood. Damn it. This Su Chen is simply a jerk. You are the brainless one. If it weren't for your mysterious methods, would have locked you up in a secret room. You're so angry. Bibi Dong gritted his teeth, his chest heaving violently, as if he was about to jump out and settle accounts with Su Chen. She looked at Hulena. "Nana, the teacher is asking you a serious question. What kind of possibility do you think it could be?" "What?" Hulena's heart instantly collapsed. "Teacher, can you spare me?" Choosing the first option indicates that you are a stepping stone, while the second and third options actually make no difference because you are blind. Or maybe it's because. Hulena hesitated for a while before realizing that she couldn't find any advantages in the rumored Master Yu Xiaojiang to help the teacher speak. Woo 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 woo. "Teacher, it seems that you are really blind." Bibi Dong Ben was already feeling angry, but as she watched Hulena struggling for a long time, she couldn't find any reason to comfort herself and couldn't say anything. She became dazed. I also began to search for answers in my mind. For a long time in a row. Apart from recalling that Yu Xiaojiang used to be a bit handsome, Bibi Dong couldn't think of any reason to convince himself to take a liking to him. Is that so? Was she once just like Nana now, a flower lover? The diary continues to be updated. Of course, which possibility is not important cannot conceal the essence of Yu Xiaojiang's scumbag. After all, no matter what reason the other saints help you, you will push people into the fire pit with your backhand. Just say what kind of trash he is, don't you have any pressure in his heart. A toad eating swan meat and breaking up with Bibi Dong is not enough, but he still wants to elope with them. How dare he? He is the successor of the Pope cultivated by the resources of the Martial Soul Hall. How dare you, a useless ghost fire boy, kidnap him? However, being stopped and threatened by Qin Xuan's illness, Yu Xiaojiang didn't even fart and ran away, even holding a grudge against Bibi Dong. He didn't run with Bibi Dong and changed his mind. Have you ever considered the pressure from others? Whenever you have the courage to sacrifice yourself for love, I look up to you. If you can think a little bit for the other person, Bibi Dong's tragedy will never happen, scumbag. Speaking of which, if I were only a level 15 useless soul master now, would I kidnap Hulena? I'm afraid Bibi Dong would also follow the old path of seeking illness for thousands of times. Hiss. When Su Chen wrote this in his diary, he couldn't help but shiver. If I kidnap Hulena with level 15 soul power, that guy. Bibi Dong's crazy criticism may be even more outrageous than Qin Xuan's illness, right? Qiang Sunji is just a secret room. Bibi Dong might even be able to keep himself in a secret room. Star Do Imperial City. At this moment, Qian Renxue, who had just come out of the palace, couldn't hold his emotions anymore when he saw the diary contents in his mind. She keenly sensed that Bibi Dong's attitude towards herself was 100% problematic here. She used to be in love with Yu Xiaojiang, but was destroyed by her father. What exactly happened here? Qian Renxue looked up at the sky, his eyes complex, and his mind recalled the disgusted expression on Bibi Dong's face when he looked at him. What is your tragedy? Is that why you hate me so much? So. Not just 1,000 steps of snow. At this time, all the women who had diary copies were also keenly aware of a big melon, the big melon of Pope Bibi Dong in the Martial Soul Hall. What exactly is her tragedy? Where does the old road lead to? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Eating Melon and Eating Yourself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Eating Melon and Eating Yourself. The Papal Palace. Bibi Dong was momentarily stunned. Su Chen. Crosser. He really knows everything, even the things that have happened to him, the painful experiences that have been suppressed in his heart, he knows. He knows himself very well. What Bibi Dong is worried about now is not being exposed by Su Chen's past, but rather Su Chen's last words, which have shaken her indestructible heart of revenge. If. According to Nana's current performance, Su Chen doesn't have much mystery in his diary, he is just a level 15 soul master. Due to his handsome appearance, would he agree with him and Nana? No. I won't agree. I have already trained Nana as a successor, how could I allow a useless person to point fingers at me? What would I do then? Bibi's face was painful, and his heart was struggling. If that's the case, I will forcibly lock Nana up. If I cannot make her give up, I will find someone to forcibly marry her. I will. What is the difference between oneself and him? No. No. No way. Bibi Dong's heart was frantically struggling, falling into a battle between heaven and man. That's right, I'm not wrong. He destroyed me, and I killed him right and wrong. During her madness, the killing intent filled the entire papal hall, and the temperature was icy cold. Suddenly, a warm stream of diary copies entered Bibi Dong's body, instantly shattering the pain in her mind and awakening her from the endless darkness. The first time Hulena saw her teacher lose her composure, the cold murderous intent around her almost made her collapse to the ground. Seeing that Bibi Dong had improved, Hulena quickly walked onto the stage, grabbed Bibi Dong's hand, and softly shouted. Teacher. With this sound, 2 hot tears had already fallen into Bibi Dong's eyes. Nana, promise me. If you have someone you like in the future, be sure to inform the teacher in advance and listen to their opinions, okay? Hulena threw herself into Bibidong's arms and responded softly, "Teacher, I remember." Although she didn't know what had happened to Bibidong, she could sense that it must have been a very painful memory. At this point, the diary content has been updated again. Hee hee. Don't you think this is over? At most, he's a scumbag, not even scumbag. The real reason he's scumbag is because he got hit and ran away with his cousin after being hit by Qinshu and Jibang. Lu Erlong, Yu Xiaojiang's cousin, dear. I'm such a pervert, I think I'm so perverted. Previously, Tang Yuehua fell in love with his elder brother Tang Dahui, and later, Yu Xiaojiang fell in love with his cousin Lu Erlong. It truly deserves to be a romantic continent. Yuexian. Bang. Tang Yuehua was originally a melon eater, but suddenly lost consciousness and dropped all the books in her hand on the ground. That expression undoubtedly tore open the deepest wound in one's heart. Eating melons on your own head. The following noble student expressed concern. Teacher, are you okay? Tang Yuehua looked like a startled little dance, then hid her good emotions and calmly said. I'm feeling a bit uncomfortable, I'll go rest first. It's too scary. How could this Su Chen know everything? The Crown Prince's mansion. Qian Renxue had just rushed back, and when she saw the contents of her diary, she was instantly stunned. Oh my goodness. She feels a bit uncomfortable to imagine. Teacher Yuehua, surprisingly. Surprisingly a dim cave. An unknown blue-silver grass. Inside the small blue-silver grass, there was an incredibly dim space, with a beautiful woman with blue hair. Ayan. She was also particularly shocked, as she had eaten a melon on herself. Tang Yuehua, Ayan naturally knew about it, and Tang Yuehua's biological brother, Tang Dahui, was either Tang Hao or Tang Xiao. It's really off the charts. Of course. However, Ayan's heart was praying when she would become a lucky audience and let her diary write about her son. Tang San. Sweating profusely on his back. Holy Soul Village. Tang San and Xiao Wu have already graduated, and the next day is to go to Shrek to report. At this moment, Xiao Wu was eating carrots and watching Tang San forge iron. She was extremely grateful that she had no blood relationship with San Jie. Third brother, do you think anyone in this world will like their own brother or cousin? I mean, the kind of liking between men and women. Tang San was stunned at the words and thought for a moment before saying. If there is no blood relationship, it is acceptable, and it would be better not to care about secular opinions. But if there is a blood relationship, it is a violation of human ethics and a great rebellion. Xiao Wu nodded heavily, and then her expression suddenly became more complicated. 3 cuts. Do you know that person is your master? Xiao Wu didn't say anything. In fact, her senses for Yu Xiaojiang were already average, but it was because of Tang San's teacher that she respected him. Now that she has read these in her diary, she is very helpless. I can't explain it. Yesterday, as soon as she saw the magic of her diary, she was about to tell Tang Sancher that she had been electrocuted and almost didn't become a barbecue rabbit. At this point, the diary continues to be updated. Far-fetched, let's continue writing about Yu Xiaojiang. Here is a soul interrogation. Did he know Lu Erlong's identity in advance? Yu Xiaojiang is known as a master. He suffered from humiliation due to his martial soul mutation since childhood, and was eventually expelled from his family. He was able to synthesize the top 10 martial souls, and was also humiliated due to his martial soul mutation. He has studied various martial soul mutations and bloodline inheritance. Although we may say he is a waste, he has definitely read enough knowledge. Besides, Lu Erlong is his second uncle's biological daughter. Even though she is an illegitimate daughter, her martial soul has mutated. Do you think this matter will be recorded in the family records? Okay. Let's just pretend that Yu Xiaojiang hasn't seen it before. Then Yu Xiaojiang, Lu Erlong, and Frand can all develop martial soul fusion skills. Aren't they really unfamiliar with each other? The key is that the martial soul fusion technique is TM. Golden Holy Dragon, isn't it obvious enough? It's outrageous. The Fire Dragon and the Golden Holy Dragon are both mutated from the Blue Electric Tyrannosaurus Rex. They have both developed martial soul fusion skills, have they never communicated before? This is not on their wedding day. After his second uncle went, he evaporated from the mortal world without any responsibility from a man. Imagine a woman being told on wedding day that the groom is her cousin, and this beloved man, cousin, evaporates from the world, leaving her alone to face the ridicule of the world, humiliation of loved ones, loss of love, and other pains. It's hard to imagine how Lu Erlong persevered and did not commit suicide. Just like Bibi Dong in the past, she experienced despair in the dark chamber of secrets. Life was better than death. If it weren't for protecting Yu Xiaojiang, she might have committed suicide long ago. The shadows that these two women will never forget in their lifetime are both due to Yu Xiaojiang, a weak and useless person. What is this not scumbag? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. There's something wrong with Hulena. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. There's something wrong with Hulena. Oh, by the way, this scumbag is playing a spiritual romance with Lu Erlong while using Bibidong's remaining affection to obtain the secret of the twin martial souls for Xiao Wuzhen and help him destroy the martial soul hall. How shameless. When it comes to the end, I have to mention that Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong are also quite despicable. They have been injured to such an extent that they even like Yu Xiaojiang. This licking dog is like a boiling lamb and a double-sided turtle, both of which have to give way to yen. I have finished writing my diary. Su Qin gave a fierce scolding and then felt a bit of toothache again. Not to mention those strange speculations, let's just say that Yu Xiaojiang is such a damn beast in the matter between Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong. How desperate is Bibi Dong in the secret room? How sad was Lu Erlong at the wedding? However, Yu Xiaojiang's scum belongs to the scum. This doesn't seem much better than Bibi Dong and Lu Erlong. Either one regards waste as treasure, while the other does not recognize the golden dragon. These two can compete with Brother Tao. Anyway. Next, when we go to Shrek, we must have a good conversation with Gangzi. How can we do without engaging in spiritual love? Su Yuntao. I strongly opposed the disbandment of the blind Douluo group by the two older sisters back then. Lanba Academy. Lu Erlong was frozen in place at the moment, his emotions extremely complex. She can't believe it. She doesn't want to believe it. However, the contents of Su Chen's diary were like needles, repeatedly stuck in her throat, making her choke and unable to speak. Like sitting on a needle felt. Like a thorn in the back. Like a thorn in the throat. These things, these words. Her father once questioned her and was very angry about how he could enter the marriage hall with Yu Xiaojiang. Did he get kicked by a donkey in his mind? Because of the filter of love. Lu Erlong never thought that Yu Xiaojiang was a waste. She always regarded Yu Xiaojiang as the most hardworking and talented person. Others mock him just because they don't understand him. Unfortunately, this is the reason. Now the pressure on Lu Erlong's heart has made him feel a bit suffocated. Back then, she was still young and didn't have much knowledge about martial souls, let alone understanding the variation of martial souls. But Yu Xiaojiang is different. He has been working hard to study these all his life. The truth hurts the most. Various memories of the past have swept over. Yu Xiaojiang has studied martial souls for a lifetime. Is he really a rascal or is he pretending to be deaf and mute? Lu Erlong's heart is now complex and he doesn't know how to choose to face it. Of course. At this moment, Lu Erlong urgently hopes that Yu Xiaojiang is a waste, an incompetent rascal. This is better than planning ahead. Martial Soul Hall. Bibidong's heart had already stabilized at this moment, but she. Surprisingly, she had a hint of sympathy for her former rival Lu Erlong. That's right, it's just sympathy. The golden iron triangle is well known. Martial soul fusion technique. Golden holy dragon. Of course Bibi Dong is very familiar with it. She must have followed it before, but looking back now, she also feels very confused. Fire dragon. Golden holy dragon. Both of them were mutated from the blue electric Tyrannosaurus rex. Lu Erlong's ignorance is understandable, but Yu Xiaojiang has studied the variation of martial souls and bloodline inheritance for a lifetime, and he hasn't noticed anything at all. Have you never communicated with each other? Hulena is also buzzing with her mind at this moment. At the same time, Hulena was very angry inside. Her teacher was actually destroyed by such a scumbag. Damn it. If I see this person named Yu Xiaojiang in the future, I must make him feel worse than death. Since he is so weak, why not let her be a woman? It has been a long time. Hulena just spoke up and asked. Teacher, what should Su Chen do next when he goes to the Sunset Forest? Bibi Dong regained his senses and caressed Hulena's smooth shoulder, whispering softly. If you are directly asked to follow him, not only will your behavior be too abnormal, but the teacher is also worried that you will be eaten by him. I see that Evil Moon and Yan's soul power is almost at level 50. Next, I will falsely claim that they have reached level 50. Using the excuse of hunting soul rings, you will go all the way to the Sunset Forest and let Moon Pass accompany the ghosts. Hulena nodded happily and said, okay. I'll go notify you in a moment, and then we'll go to the Sunset Forest together. Bibi Dong nodded on Hulena's head and spoke. I'm not asking you to go sightseeing. I'll give you 2 tasks on this trip, and I'll also let the ghost of the Moon Pass listen to your arrangements. First, you need to explore Su Chen's background, get to know him better, and bring him to our papal palace. Secondly, you should mention my name more in front of him without paying attention, and let him write more about me in his diary. Although Bibi Dong didn't believe Su Chen's first possibility and didn't believe she was a stepping stone, since Su Chen had written it, she still doubted it in her heart. If I could give Su Chen a daily reward that often appears in her diary in the future, she would be fearless again. Hulena nodded heavily and promised. Don't worry, teacher. I will definitely complete the task. I'll go first. Bibi Dong watched Hulena leave with joy, his eyes becoming more complicated, and his heart gradually began to clear up. At this moment, Bibi Dong's obsession was not as deep as before, and her hatred had also loosened a bit. The content in Su Chen's diary was like a big palm, slapping her head and making her clear-headed. She murmured in her mouth. If Su Chen was just a level 15 soul master, Nana, would you choose the same as me, and how would I choose? Yu Xiaojiang. Are you scheming or just a simple waste? Noon. Su Chen waited at the school gate in all sorts of boredom. Hulena arranged everything and ran all the way to Su Chen, pleading in a tone. Well. My brother and Yan happen to have both exceeded level 50 in soul power, and we're going to the Sunset Forest to hunt for soul rings. Can we go all the way? Su Chen felt a bit strange in his heart. This Hulena is not right, very wrong. Currently. Although I have already gained strength, I have not exposed it. Even if I had already discovered someone staring at me in the dark, I did not show any abnormalities. What about Hulena's attitude? Grandma Lee's. I didn't even touch, did you, this little fox, fall into depravity? I dare not. If you want to do this, then I won't be a tough guy anymore. I took your kindness and didn't repay it yet, so I kidnapped you. I'm going to be in the rhythm of the Chamber of Secrets. Su Chen's face was somewhat helpless, and he clearly refused. Actually, I have some serious matters to attend to. If we were together, it would be a bit inconvenient. I just need to go on my own. Hulena didn't listen at all, so she grabbed Su Chen's arm and shook it, saying. Oh my. What's so inconvenient about this? Let's travel together this time, and if there's anything we can do, we can also take care of you. Let's settle it this way. I'll go call my brother and Yen and they'll leave soon. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Poor Swallow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Poor Swallow. I didn't wait for Su Chen to refuse. Hulena happily bounced and ran away. What Su Chen was looking at was a bewildered expression. No, it's not. Did you lie down before I even took action? Just because I'm handsome. If you really want this, then the theme of my diary tomorrow is: boys should protect themselves when they are away. Actually, to put it another way. People often say that it's not just a family that doesn't enter each door. Hulena and Bibi Dong are really a family. One can see level 29 trash, and the other can see level 15 trash themselves. I wipe them. Green is better than blue. Not long ago, a luxurious carriage was parked at the entrance of the college. Hulena not only brought Evil Moon and Yen, but also two people along, one seductive and the other coquettish. Chrysanthemum Douluo and Ghost Douluo. When Su Chen saw the two of them, he remembered that he had felt someone observing him in the dark before. Now that he felt the scent on the ghost's body, he understood that it was him. No wonder it's so hidden. Hulena stepped forward and introduced Su Chen to Su Chen. These two are the elders of our martial soul hall and also two titled Douluo, Ju Douluo and Gue Douluo. Grandpa Ju and Grandpa Gue, this is my good friend Su Chen. Su Chen greeted with a smile on his face. I've seen two crowned subordinates. Chrysanthemums wither, the ground is covered in wounds, and flowers fall, causing people to break their intestines. Su Chen is still very fond of the best friends combination of Chrysanthemum Pass and Old Ghost. Gedoluo's face remained expressionless and he nodded slightly. On a white face, Ju Douluo joked with a smile. She looks so handsome, no wonder she can become our Nana's good friend, cluck. Su Chen awkwardly smiled and didn't answer. Hulena's pretty face turned slightly red as she grabbed Su Chen's arm and said, let's go up, and set off. Su Chen did not refuse and just followed Hulena onto the carriage. I'll sit with you all. As soon as Yen saw these two people about to sit together, he felt a great sense of unease in his heart and quickly followed them. On the carriage, Su Chen, Hulena, and Yen are sitting in the left row, while Evil Moon, Guan Yu, and Ghost are sitting in the right row. The car is very big and also very fast. Su Chen felt relieved. After all, Douluo was also considered a fantasy, and the small horse pulled the big car on the highway all the way. If it were a normal ancient background, I don't know how many days this trip will take. No one spoke in the car, and Su Chen was also closing his eyes to rest. A diary began to flood his mind. Hulena, you and Bibi Dong are really masters and disciples. She found a level 29 trash. Do you like me so much, this level 15 trash? You are really in love with your brain. Hulena, who was sitting next to her, was originally reading a diary update in her mind and was still excited to think about what Su Chen wanted to write. At first glance, I almost vomited blood. Damn it. When can your annoying habit be corrected? Can you be polite? However, upon careful consideration, it is also true that from Su Chen's perspective, his behavior was indeed too fanciful and too proactive. Tiando Royal Academy. Dugu Yen sat in the classroom with her legs crossed, and suddenly the corner of her mouth lifted, revealing a smile. A head of deep purple short hair, full of heroism, with a pair of green eyes, very strange, giving people a strange charm, a strange beauty. Yi Lingling, who was elegant and beautiful on the side, couldn't help but turn her head and ask. Swallow, why are you laughing? Dugu Yen smiled and murmured. I just saw something interesting, but I can't tell you. What am I laughing at? I laughed at Bibi Dong's lack of strategy in the martial soul hall, Hulena's lack of intelligence, and I laughed at their master and disciple's love brain. Haha. Yi Lingling nodded slightly and said gently, actually, I also saw something interesting, and I can't tell anyone. Du Guyen chuckled and said, is that right? It's quite a coincidence. You probably didn't intentionally deceive me just to make me tell you, did you? As she was speaking, Du Guyan's face suddenly froze, as if she had seen something that was off the charts. Yi Lingling was also dumbfounded when she saw the diary content in her mind. Originally planned, after obtaining the map of Sunset Forest, I would first search inside for the Ice and Fire Liangyi eyes. If it's easy to find, I'll go to the Heavenly Do Royal Academy and beat up Du Guyen, lure Dugu Bo away from the mountain, and then I'll go mow the grass. If it's difficult to find, go directly to the Heavenly Do Royal Academy and beat up Du Guyen. After attracting Dugu Bo, make a deal with him to help them detoxify and compensate for the cost of mowing the grass. Now that Hulena and his companions are with us, we probably won't have a chance to find them. Forget it, go directly to Tiendo Academy to beat up Du Guyen and attract Dugu Bo. Let Dugu Bo take him to mow the grass. I suddenly realized that no matter which one it is, the difference is not significant. It's inevitable to beat up the lonely goose. How pitiful a swallow is. Take a nap. This is not. Du Guyen was originally laughing at the love brain master and disciple, but for some reason, the disaster hit her. Damn it. Where the hell did I provoke you? I don't even know who you are, Su Chen. You even want to beat me up inside and outside. Wait for you to come, I want to see what skills you have. Who the hell are we hitting? At this moment, Yi Lingling was also numb and thought to herself, indeed. What a pitiful swallow. After a brief thought, Yi Lingling looked at Du Guyen with a serious expression and said. Swallow, I have learned some divination recently. I see that your printing hall may turn black and there may be a disaster of blood and light. How about you go home and rest for a few days? Really, don't ask me why, you believe I'm good to you. Du Guyen was originally feeling stuffy in her heart, but when she heard Yi Lingling's words, her face changed instantly and she exclaimed in shock. Lingling, shouldn't you have it too? Moment all the classmates around turned their heads and stared straight at the two of them, Big Melon. Big Melon. Surprisingly, both goddesses are present. Yi Lingling's face instantly turned red, and her head was almost buried inside her crispy chest. I have, not. Du Guyen grabbed Yi Lingling's hand and walked out, saying, so you do too. Let's go. Let's go out and find a place where nobody can chat. The two of them ran out all the way and found a deserted place. Du Guyen looked at Yi Lingling and asked, compared to the east in the Martial Soul Hall, Love Brain Master and Apprentice. Heavenly King Gai Dihu, Yi Lingling nodded heavily and received the code. Hulena from the Martial Soul Hall, Master and Apprentice of Love Brain. Bauta Town River Demon, Du Guyen was instantly surprised, the secret code matched, and the organization found it. She said, Lingling, I didn't expect you to have that bastard's diary copy too. Yi Lingling's face was somewhat worried and she said. I also discovered it last night. By the way, Swallow, you should leave school and go back now. The person named Su Chen set off from the Martial Soul City today. At the speed of the Martial Soul Hall, they didn't stop halfway and arrived at Tiendo City in a few days. End of this chapter.